That would have been 0.4. I'm gonna be mad. Yep. Fuck. The worst 476K. Just used to that GH1 activation on the same frame you strum, I guess. Fuck. Well, before I knew those two other squeezes were possible, or feasible, or I had hit one of them, I might have been happy with that. Really good ticks, too, man. What a bummer. Threw away that run like that. I would have been pretty satisfied with 424. Lovely. God damn. Just will not come together. It went a little too hard for ticks there. Wow, I think that is 0.4 on the dot. Played that pretty conservatively on the back end because I am so fucking over this. Man, I think I had more last act chokes there than when I first went for this 476k. Very satisfied to at least get 0.4 there. I mean, on the dot, like, jeez. This is still minus 200 from the third act, but this very well may be my final stand with this song. I was fairly satisfied with 476k, but I knew there was still a lot more here. And this song is the first new thing that I've TAS'd on this engine in God knows how long at this point. Especially at the point this actually gets uploaded at the beginning of August. The funny thing about the task data for this song is that the squeeze that I actually went for is significantly harder, at least frame data wise, but the fact that it's so close to the beginning of the song is what made me grind for it. Initially, I just wanted to see if I could hit it in general. It took probably 15 minutes of attempts, which is a lot for how early not only the act in general is, but especially that first whammy. Unfortunately, it's not an act where if you miss it, you end up even. You lose 200 on it. You miss the back end, so there's no, like, miss that act and then continue and try the third for the extra 200. And to be fair, even though the frame data for it is pretty significantly worse than Act 3, the execution for it is way better on the front and back ends. So as for that frame data, that first act was a 3-frame window with 2 reset whammies on it, which is very, very strict. Thankfully, the whammies, just like the front and back ends, are in pretty good positions execution-wise, but still, that timing is very rough. And unfortunately, I had to hit that act at least 15, probably closer to 20 fucking times before this finally ended. Strangely, I either had 1 or 0 runs die in just the chorus trying to maintain ticks, or anything outside of the third act front end, red flaming that, but that happened way too many fucking times. I said in one of the chokes, I don't know if I'll end up showing, but I don't think I really need to use extended hit window there for timing purposes, but I've been playing exclusively GH1 for over the past 2 months, and there's a difference in how traditional activations work in that game. Extended hit window works the same way for some reason. You have to activate the frame before fretting, but in GH1 you can activate on the frame that you strum the note to, or, fret it if it's a hopo and you're nasty like that on GH1 to activate it. And so my brain is completely locked into that execution. So anyway, after a couple front-end chokes not using extended hit window, I was like, well, if this is going to be a toss-up anyway, and whether I red flame it, I might as well try to abuse the extended hit window frames to make sure. Yeah, the extended hit window execution is just changing chords at that speed just kind of always give me a tough time, it seems like. It doesn't help that they're immediately followed by the fast strumming. But yeah, thankfully those third act front end chokes started to subside after a bit, but still, again, just way too many times for how hard that first act is. And last act. But anyway, for that third act, I think it's on the upper bound path, that was a 4-frame window, and it only has the one whammy on it. So yeah, again, frame data significantly better, but the execution for it is a lot worse on both the front and back end. It's way later in the song, and I just knew that at least right now, I really have no hope of pairing all 3 of those ridiculous acts together. Maybe someday, though I kind of hate to think about that, but certainly not now. And for that third act, if I was going for the extra 200, I was delaying the front end to the yellow-blue to where I wouldn't necessarily have to fight the green hopo that precedes the actual back end I'm looking for in terms of eating my strums. You can get around that with extended hit window mechanics, like I used on songs like Miserlou and 6, but it just adds another layer of execution that you really don't want to deal with. Though if you are able to use that execution, and it's no big deal, the red-yellow has the same frame data. So whether it's the red-yellow to the second green or the yellow-blue to the fourth green, yeah, it was 4 frames either way, but you have to use that extended hit window mechanic to preemptively satisfy the strum window of the hopo. And also, if I remember correctly, I mean, this is only a couple hours ago, so hopefully I do, but I think in the TAS run, if I didn't use the extended hit window mechanic on that hopo green, even though the back end is on the 4th green for the yellow-blue front end, I think if I didn't do that, the act was instead a 3-frame window, just because you have to wait so long into that green hopo to not have it eat the next strum, and by doing that you get caught up in the strum limit. So I think ideally either way you do want to use that trick, but that also, to be fair, could have just been either emulator inaccuracy or just how the frames lined up with the strum limit in that particular run. So it might not objectively matter, or at least not matter in every case, but just thought that was worth mentioning. And finally, I decided to task the last act just to see what the back-end situation was, and in that task run, it required dropping 1 frame of ticks to get the back end. The ticks on that red-blue incremented under star power, usually in 24s, but every like 4 frames it would be in 16. So yeah, dropping ticks on that back end is a real problem, and I definitely dropped more than I thought on my first 476K run. Again, these ticks are pretty bad now that I know it's actually possible on here. I've gotten at least 40 in ticks. That was missing the third act front end. But again, at this point, it's just kind of a time sink thing. I spent enough time on this, and I'm just glad to have gotten 0.4 again. So again, might be done with this, but never know.